Hey, you guys, it's me again, Cola Sojak, tapping into Metaphysical Monday, getting back to it. We've been having some tough technical difficulties today with internet. It was on my side and Kephra's side. Well, mine was all right, but it was moving a little delayed. And so I'm just going to wait for Kephra. I just talked to Brother Keph, and he has it, I think it's better now, so he should be coming in soon. I'm going to go ahead again. We already did a meditation on the other live, so I'll probably allow that to stay on there. If anybody want to tap into the meditation, that's cool. I'll recaption it. And just to set the tone again for the live. Welcome to Metaphysical Monday. This is Sister Cola Sojak. Tonight we're going to have Brother Kephra Fatah on. We are going to be building on One Day Abembola's book, or not the book, but the topic or the title of the book, which is it's IFA Will Mend Our Broken World. That's the name of the book. I wanted to pose the question, or we were going to be building on the question of, can IFA mend our broken world? And we're going to just kind of do a light build on it tonight, and we may even do a part 2. So I'm just waiting on Brother Keph to come in, and we can go ahead and get started. That's him right there, right on. Yeah. So I'm going to push this back. Can you see the, there you go. Hey, how you doing, brother?
All right, sister, how about yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on. Welcome back. Because you are a regular and family here at Sojak Healing Community.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's always great to be on your show.
For sure. Peace, Brother Tashaka.
Peace and blessings, Brother Tashaka Sankofa.
Yes.
So
that last build we had was crazy. It was amazing about SU. Got a lot of positive feedback on that.
Definitely. We give thanks and praise. And you know how I like to start, may SU open the way, may Ogun clear the path, and may Ochosi never miss his mark. I say.
So yeah, go ahead. So that the blessing, or did you want to do anything else or say anything else to open up the session or the bill?
One moment.
So while we are waiting on Babalawo Kephra Fatah, he can also tell people who don't know. Most of you are familiar with Brother Kephra, but for those of who are not, he will give you the background. He is a Babalawo, a very gifted spiritual teacher. He has an eclectic path, kind of like me, but he's a master at a few things, and he's been working on something he was telling me about that I'm interested in. It's the Comedic IFA channel with him and Michael Smithereens. Shout out to Michael also, and I like that. That's one of the things that I thought was interesting though, because tonight, even though I brought up are the Orishas, or not the Orishas, but can IFA mend our broken world. I also spoke, wanted to show to tap on the veneration of Neteru and Orisha, the god, what we call the gods, the Elohim. Is this something that is still relevant in our modern world? Should we or should we not still be venerating the ancestors, or the Neteru and the Orisha? And that's just something to think about. And I just wanted to set that up. Brother Fatah is back, so I'm turning it over.
All right. So we go cool everything off. Omi tutu, Hele tutu, Ona tutu, tutu eshu, tutu egun, kosi ku, kosi jo, kosi afo, kosi adina, aiko babawa, ashe.
Okay.
We give thanks and praise to Baba Eshu. Eshu Odara, open up the way. Akakanika, akakanika, lakakanika, labatasu, jakalu, akakanika, liapi, akakanika, liapi. We give thanks and praise to Baba Eshu. We ask that you open it the way. On the Bible out of town, on the position of the town of Son. Make it so that good things come to us. Make it so
I
that everything that happens tonight, that
say,
communication is clear.
I
We
say,
say, I say. We give thanks and praise to Rumala, who is the witness of faith and second only to Olodumare. We give thanks and praise
no
to
more
Oduduwa,
words.
the ancestor of humanity, the ancestor of the Yoruba. We give thanks and praise to Ella. Let a lot of Ella work through us. We say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Rumala, witness of faith, second only to Olodumare, invocation to medicine, you miss or river to their death, Olodumare say, mysterious spirits about death. And you salutation is due in the morning. That equilibrium that I just four forces, it is you, circulated, because that's what you're bound not to tell. You're lucky and knows because immortal. My Lord is a multiple king, perfect in knowledge wisdom, Lord of infinite knowledge, but I know therefore a few times. All we can only in full, and all will be well with us. We say Ashe.
Open the way. I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're so blessed, so blessed. Such a good vibration. Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And that's what we want to do. You spoke about IFA, meaning our broken world. So we got to put together a strong vibration. We want that vibration to pervade not only our families and community, but the whole wide world.
Yes. Ashe.
So, because when we see it, then it can manifest.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't see it, right, then we cannot create it. So one of the names of Olodumare is Eleda, which is identified with a Ori, which also means the creator. Olodumare is a creator and creatress, because there's the masculine and feminine existing as the one. It's equivalent in Vodun is Mawulisa. Mawulisa, you have the Mawu, which is the feminine, and Lisa, which is the masculine. You have the solar and the lunar principle.
Thank you. Yeah, we just did that's connected to Earth energy, and we just did a build on Earth Day last week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting you bring up the Mawu energy. Ashe.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Ashe. Very important. Very important. Because if we don't, like there's Onile, and there's something I'm going to talk about eventually, and like in the Yoruba, among the Yoruba, and throughout West Africa, there's what you call the Ogboni Society. They're the wisdom keepers of the planet Earth. To make sure that the wisdom teachings, as well as the ceremonies, are still intact so that the planet can be brought into balance. So these are the wisdom keepers of the planet Earth, right?
Right.
But each and every one of us, we have to tap into our inner wisdom keeper. Hence my YouTube channel, Ancient Wisdom Keeper.
Okay.
Ashe.
Write that down, y'all. Tap in.
So you can check me out. That's Kephra 360 on YouTube. And it's also entitled Ancient Wisdom Keeper.
Okay. You can also put it in the comments for us when you get a chance at some point, and then we can, everyone that comes in, that may not remember, they can see it in the comments also.
All right, I'm trying to do something, but all this weird stuff is showing up. I just got this iPhone, so I'm working on it.
You can also do it after the live, just like in the comments. Uh-oh. And he didn't knock himself off. Let's see if we can get him back up here. Got this new fancy iPhone. Is Mercury still in retrograde? Welcome into us, to Whitney.
I'm still with you. Like I say, oh well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us onto this topic here about the veneration of the Orishas, of the Neteru, of this whole God systems that we have in place, some that are ancient, very ancient, all of them forgotten. Some of us are bringing them back out and have, in small numbers, but now it's coming out in greater numbers. I'm not sure if everybody totally grasps, because we're still learning. All of us are learning, but, totally grasp the concept of the relationship with the Godship versus the ship in religion, and just all of it. Is it, we see what's going on with Christianity and different things like that, which is why we're here. So, do you think, like, can Ifá mend our broken world? And are these systems that we're using, are they even still relevant? That's just something to, build on throughout And are you familiar with One Day's book or his work?
I'm familiar with Wande's work. I went, Wande Abimbala. I believe he was the spokesman for IFA around the world.
Mm-hmm.
That
World's
was a,
person,
you know.
yes.
So yes, Wande Abimbala is very relevant. I think anybody who would like to understand, I know Wande Abimbala also wrote a book on praise poetry,
Mm-hmm.
which is very important because it deals with us being able to poetically praise the forces of
Mm.
nature and in the
Wow.
environment. And he would teach people how to utilize certain intonations so that you can awaken that ancestral resonance as you communicate with the forces of nature, in
And
which they
explain
would call
that.
Oriki.
Explain that to the ones that intonation. Could you just give
Mm-hmm.
us a
So
little bit
there's
on that?
so there's different sounds and frequencies, you see what I mean? In which the Yoruba language is a musical language. And it's something that I'm still studying, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you.
Me
Because,
too.
you have your Orin, which is the songs, right? The Risha songs. But you
Mm-hmm.
have Oriki, and a lot of these Orin, these songs are connected to these Oriki. So it
Correct.
makes it easier for them to memorize in the form of songs being repetitive in shorter
Mm-hmm.
verses, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're able to use your voice, right, there's certain
Mm-hmm.
tones that you would utilize with your voice along with the rhythm of the drum. And when you call upon or sing the names of these orishas, right, you say, Sean, for instance, that's you. Barasuayo, Moyana wana mama Kenny Yawoe, Barasuayo, Moyana wana mama Kenny Yawoe, Barasuayo, Eke Shodara, Omoyana guana mana Kenny Yawoe, I go a churio, Baralala Iki, I go a churio, and then they go into the rest, and then there's a call and response. And then they're
Yes.
playing the drums and everything else, and then they summon the Orisha through the sounds of the drum and the voice. You see what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
one time I first did in Oriki when I just hadn't been reading it off the paper, trying my best because I did not know and understand the accents at the time. But just by me doing that later on that night, I had a dream that I was sitting underneath some giant feet, and I can tell I was in front of a Babalao. He was like a giant, but I was not
Mm-hmm.
allowed to see his face. I could see,
Mm-hmm.
how when you're sitting in like the kind of like semi-Indian style, and he was holding like the oroke. He had the opine in front of him, and he had these big old giant feet. And I was like a little guy sitting in front of him, and I could sense all these other presences in the room. You see, so whatever I had done at that point in time, I had summoned a cosmic consciousness linked to these ancient wisdom keepers in the form of babalawos.
Yeah.
You see, so.
That those giants, that's a level of consciousness,
Mm-hmm,
that's deep. That
mm-hmm,
that speaks to the level they were at versus where you were in size. That's why that's like in Egypt too. And I
indeed.
to just say that you're right. The Orikis, I don't use them a lot because it's medicine,
Mm-hmm,
but they're very powerful, and we don't have to necessarily have the tone all the way. They definitely work.
indeed.
They
Indeed.
definitely work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I say.
I
But go
say.
ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to, you know, testify to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I mean, even the whole, Yoruba culture is very musical.
Hmm.
In fact, they even have the talking drum. And when you play the
Hmm.
talking drum, it sounds almost like the Yoruba language itself.
Wow. Is
Hmm.
that the master drum?
It's kind of like, it's shaped like a double drum, but there's a
Hmm.
stick, and the stick is kind of curved. So when you hit different parts
Hmm.
of the drum, it go boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, how to
Yeah.
play it. It sounds like you're having a conversation in Yoruba.
Mm-hmm. I
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
That's
It's a
deep.
beautiful tool. Yeah, yeah, so um but that didn't really survive in the African diasporic versions of the tradition,
Right.
They do have another set of drums that did survive, which is connected to Shango. This is called Ayan. They call it Anya, and it survives in Cuba where they have what you call the three batas, right? So
Hmm.
you have Iya, which is the big drum. Then you have Itotole, which is the smaller drum, but that's the male. The bigger one, that's the female, right? That's Mama. Her name is Iya. So she's got all the bass. She's got boom,
Yeah.
bah,
Hmm.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. She has the bass. Then you have
Hmm.
Itotole, right? Itotole is the next smallest drum, and that's the father drum. And then you have little baby drum, which is called Okonkolo, right? And Okonkolo, that keeps the bit rhythm, right? All the other
keep it
drums are playing
going.
off.
Yeah.
You see?
Everything
So
else.
those three drums.
Yeah.
So those three drums, the drummers are having a conversation. And as they speed up and as they switch, they're actually summoning the orishas in that form, in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Frequency, vibration. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of just get on that piece for, just because it is a tonal language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's tonal and it's musical. They kind of,
Musical.
even their conversation is a song.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you can go ahead. I was just asking on that part. You were going into we were speaking to Can Ifayemi in Our Broken World, and we were speaking to you where I guess the way people perceive the religion or the concept in general, the perception of it.
This is where we got to get serious about the nature of things.
Mhm.
And right now, we see that our world is in crisis. There's war. You can even hear the church bells going off to confirm what I'm talking about in the background. So people are having a hard time, whether it's purchasing a home, mortgage interest rates are high. We look around, we see families not sustaining. The divorce rate is on the rise
Right.
within the United States. And where there are weak families, there are weak communities.
Mm.
So, on a grander scale, we see these conflicts involving Gaza, the Middle East. We see conflicts in Haiti, receiving messages of conflicts in Armenia, right? There's even the possibility of a conflict between the United States and China, let alone the conflicts in Palestine and Mexico and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Yemen. So when you look around, all you see is conflict. Every time you turn on the TV, there's more bullshit to keep you afraid and keep you scared and off your feet and in balance. So when you turn on the news, all you hear about is conflict. You hear about problems. You hear about challenges. How did the world get broken? If Ifa the men are a broken world, how do we fix it? Right? Ifa follows. It says that the broken world is something that we did not create, or did we? The human mind is very powerful. We can manifest both our greatest desires as well as our greatest fears, which is why you want to be careful what you say, because you can bring things into existence. Your tongue can either make you or break you. You got to be careful of hexing yourself, according to the holy Odu Ikameji.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Something that we've always have known in our wisdom teachings. Unfortunately, many of us are programmed and geared towards manifesting our greatest fears. We have been programmed to focus on our fears, sister, and therefore we manifest that which we most greatly fear. And one of the greatest fears we have is the fear of the unknown. And since a lot of us do not know our own power, we fear our own power because we don't know it.
Come on, Pluto.
Ashe?
Ashe.
So he finds the wisdom.
Brother Kephra got a whole word tonight, brother.
I got a word. I want to talk to you. I got a sermon. I want to talk to you. Anybody who want to talk about this, I want to talk to you, because we got some work to do. We got business to take care of. We got to stand on business because the world is in balance. We got to bring balance, and we got to bring order. And they called it ma'at, right? But we bring balance to our own individual lives first. Then we can bring balance to the outer world, because it is as above, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. He finds the wisdom of nature, literally meaning to scratch. And because of the markings made by the diviner during the process of divination. So when the diviner does this, not only does the diviner or the Babalao put the pattern down, right, which is detected through divination, but these patterns can be marked to some of the energies in which will be useful to create the transformative work that is necessary to shape the outcome of an event. We do not have to suffer cataclysms. We do not have to all die of sickness and disease. We have a collective choice. Ifa teaches that humans are capable of making sacrifices and changing the outcome of an event. Kabi Baba Shango.
That's facts. That's the facts. Come through. You know,
So
so speaking of that, though, when you think of places that's heavy in war, um, I wonder, do you think about what could contribute to that, where there's war constantly going on, and when we speaking not to the actual politic, that's the Earth storyline,
mhm.
but on a spiritual level, do you think there is planting seeds for these babies to be born with war in their heart to continue this type of energy? This has been going on for over 1,000 years in these same locations, like in the Middle East.
There's up and coming, there's cycles, and we definitely want to talk about the cycles because you have your golden age and then you have the age in which we fall. One of the reasons why we are so at the bottom or appear to be at the bottom is because at one point in time we were so great. You see
Hmm.
what I mean? But that
Hmm.
history has been
Absolutely.
forgotten.
Hmm.
So, and we have to deal with lies about our history. So we don't really understand how great we actually have been. You see what I mean? And
Hmm.
therefore we have forgotten how great we actually are because
Hmm.
that's not what they want you to know, not the
Right.
rascals, who are dealing with spiritual entities themselves. They do chicken sacrifices, they do sacrifice goats and everything else. That's what the
Mm.
Baphomet is about because they're summoning the energy of the sacrificed goat. That's why you got Baphomet in the form of the masculine and feminine energy, and because what it represents is them working on their life force energy and their sexual energy, which has the potency and the idea of a goat being sacrificed.
The goat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eshu's favorite meat is
The
the goat meat,
the
the meat of the
goat.
goat.
Yeah.
hmm
The goat.
So, so,
Yeah.
so therefore, when we're looking at this, we have to understand that the people who are the so-called powers that be, they do blood work, they do sacrifices, and a
Yes,
lot
they
of
do.
times it's human
Come
sacrifices in the form of
on.
war. So
Come on.
therefore, they ended up sending your 18-year-old son to go and die for their bullshit cause so they can sacrifice them and use their ashe for
Mm.
the agenda that they have in mind for you. Meanwhile, they send all your jobs over there to another country and lock you out of business over here. There's no way you're going to manifest anything in the American economy if all they do is tell you to shop, but they don't ever tell you how to produce. And
Mm.
that's part of the
Mm.
issue. That's how they keep you a slave. So, yes, it's time for us to remove the fear, right? Because
Yes.
this is the ingredients that we need to tap into, that is
Mm.
the courage and the sweetness in which we need. The society based on the principles of Ewa Puele and Ifa, which
Why
is also
play?
dealing with the integral individual. Ewa Puele being balanced character and the ability to come and greet the earth, as well as the Enneon, the chosen one, which you and I and many others are, as well as the Omolabi. The
Mm.
Omolabi is the integrated person who has
Mm.
awakened all of their faculties in a Gnostic tradition that's called the Pleroma.
Come
So,
on.
yes, we have the ability to resurrect the so-called broken up calabash, the broken up Obatala, and the Osir within us.
Yes.
You see?
Yes. So welcome in, brothers and sisters. Everybody coming in, to my mother, Shali. Oh man, everybody. If I miss
I
your
say,
name, I'm sorry. Alexandra. Everybody, for those I can't see and can't see. That's powerful, brother. That's very powerful. I love that. Mm. Yeah, so when you talk about the sacrifices and these human sacrifices, do you think that's also what's happening here in this country in our political? This is, some of these are rhetorical. I just want to ask so the audience also can get an understanding. Um, Things that are going on in Hollywood right now.
oh, certainly,
Things that are taking
certainly,
place in our government and things like that. It's a
certainly.
machine. Shaka
hmm
Khan said they sacrifice it. It's a machine that we call,
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But you see, here's the thing. They got to scare you away from your spiritual
hey,
power
brother
by
Al,
telling you that what you do is
right?
evil. But meanwhile, you got the people who are the bankers, who are the Kabbalists. Man, the same thing we do when we clean you off with the chicken is the same thing they do. They do those same, very similar rituals in their Kabbalah with the same points in
Mm,
which you place the
hmm.
chicken to clean the person off and
Yes,
everything else, right?
yes.
And sacrificing of the goat, they make a bow and everything else. If you go
Hmm.
to a lot of occult bookstores, you're going to notice that a lot of that stuff is straight up Jewish magic, right?
Yep.
And you get the ass and elbows of it unless you get initiated into the secrets in which they do
That's that.
everything about it, which is very similar to T5. But meanwhile, they tell you not to do it and they scare you away with it and say, hey, all you need is just Jesus. While they're working with their prophets Okay? And I'm not
And
telling
that's the
people,
books
hey, if that
they
looks
don't put
perfect,
out.
go ahead and do what you do. What's that now?
That's the books they won't show us. The ones
Exactly.
that cost $700, $800, $1,000, $2,000,
Exactly.
$3,000. You know, knowledge is
Exactly.
power. You gotta pay for knowledge, you know.
You got to pay for it. That's why they say, even in the street, they say that the game is sold and not told. So you got
Come
to
on.
go through various levels of initiation. You
They
see what I
pimp.
mean? You know, you think you go get with, you think these guys are going to publish some stuff at a Barnes and Noble bookstore, or you could just get it off the internet on how to defeat them?
Come on.
You know what I mean? You gonna go and burn some candles in a book on Wicca on how to defeat these people? I remember a whole bunch of these women. They were some Wiccan chicks that basically got some Barnes and Noble's books. They go burn some candles to get rid of Trump, and they're burning candles and marching around the country, and he's still the president.
He said,
You know what I mean?
"Born the
You,
noble book." That is
you know,
funny.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you don't have this power within you. You know what I mean?
Well,
But it's something that has to be
honestly,
cultivated.
that's
You see?
that's the point, though. Instead of the
Mm-hmm.
born and noble books, they'll probably
Mm-hmm.
do better
Right.
tapping into the power within through the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you said, we know in this spirituality that we are a part of, and even
Mm-hmm.
any of us that's tapped in, this stuff comes through dreams. Spirits
Yes.
talk to us all the time. It's always with us, even when we have sleeping. So, if there's certain things,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have the knowledge within, it'll give you the place where to go to find it.
Facts.
You can go to this location or that, you know. So, yeah.
In
That's
fact.
why I keep telling people harmonic conversion and it's strength
Mm-hmm.
in numbers. There's
There is.
rituals you could do as a collective. And I wanted to go back to that too, brother. You were speaking about this collective change in order for us to elevate as that collective. And with E5 men in our broken world and things like that, you know, how can we even begin, you know, to how many collectives do we need to, you know, and I'm just speaking again rhetorical, because, you know, I know that, you know, it's strength in numbers, but any light that we're bringing to the planet is always in aid of raising the frequency, you know, in service.
You know, when I take like a little bit of rum and I spray it on something, I'm imprinting it with my ashe, which is I'm imprinting it with my intention.
Mm.
If I was to use cigar and if I was to blow it on an object, I'm imprinting it with my intention. I'm charging it up. You see what I mean? Now, when people get together and they pray, right, they will create what is called an egregore, and that egregore will be able to do things for them. They will create a collective thought form that will carry out what it is that they want to see happen. You see? But the thing about it is that if you're not connected to it, and if you keep on having people tell you that you don't have that power, right? Ifa teaches that you have your Ori. Ori is your head, the divine nature within your head, which is the part of Olodumare that is given to each and every one of us. No Orisha nor ancestor can do anything for you or against you without the permission of your Ori, which is spoken of in Ogunda. Ogunda Meji. So,
Absolutely.
you see, so you have the ability to tap in, okay? Each and every one of us was given the power to phone home. Now, I had another elder say, if you put a room full of Babalaos together, about 100 Babalaos get together and chat for the same intention, together they will change reality itself. And I believe that. One of the reasons why they keep on pumping us up with all this negative news, as I was talking about earlier, is so that we can keep on focusing on that. Because in our minds, we will create what they want us to create. Because they don't have the damn idea to do it themselves. So therefore, they want you to do it by keeping you in fear and by having you watch all these movies so that your minds will summon that energy and bring it into existence.
Yep.
That's what they want you to do. That's why all the movies damn near have the same story over and over again, because they're trying to condition you to create the reality that they want you to create.
Come on.
That's why they give you,
wow.
They even have issues going on. They want you to hate yourself. They want you to hate your significant other and hate your family. They want you to find fault in everything else because they're trying to break you away from something so they can get you to create what they want you to create. But they have to get you to attune to it. These movies are ritualistic for a reason. The reason why they keep on having you listen to music on 440 hertz, knowing that it's throwing you off, as opposed to 432 hertz, which actually heals your mind and body and gives you energy. They know what they're doing. But the thing about it is that they can tell you it's conspiracy theories, right? And tell you that science is fiction when there's no fiction about it at all.
Right.
And just about all the science fiction movies, the reason why it's called science It's actually an oxymoron to call it fiction. The whole thing about it, though, is that they have to get you to watch the fiction, right? To fix your mind on something to create what it is that they're trying to do. If
Come
you
on,
pay
Kephra.
attention to a lot of these movies are based on teachings of the occult. And you will find a lot of movies to line up, including Marvel Comics. Shoot, you look at a lot of the X-Men with, X-Men comics and everything else. Some of those were like the esoteric Hebrew teachings in the form of characters. They even got some of our Orishas in their comics. DC Comics and Marvel Comics both got their own version of Shango.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So who is Shango to them? Who are they using? Who are they matching?
They actually have their names. Look up DC Comics and look up Marvel Comics. Just put Shango and see what you get.
Wow. Yes, yeah. I have seen even like the little, like even with Wonder Woman, though, that's ISIS, just the Stargate, the wings, just all of those
Yeah.
kind of things,
Yeah. There's even a story in the
Yeah.
Black Panther comics where they were talking about, they were actually literally saying that the deities of their pantheon are called Orishas. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I
Yeah.
think it was a comic book edited by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Check
Mm-hmm.
it out. It's
Mm-hmm.
in there. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
they really know about more about our deities than we do half the time, because they study. They go to Africa and everything else, have rituals done so that they can come up and everything.
You this is kind of going back to something you said earlier. Because I know something that's heavy right now. That's why I'm taking it somewhere else. I want to say shout out to Brother Gerald, shout out to Brother Alistair. Thank you guys for all your comments. We'll get to them. If you guys have any questions, we'll get to them. But something you said, and it was so powerful, what you just gave. But you were saying about the Ori. Now I remember when I was going through my training, Baba Tunde said that when your Ori turns against you, we talk about, not to trigger anybody out there. They say unalive now, but it's suicide.
Mm-hmm.
When these types of things happen. And I think that's important to speak on when we speak to Ori, because in this time of so much uncertainty, that's on the high. That's on the rise. Mental health is number one. Spiritual liberation, that's what I put all my energy into, that. And just finding a balance, because not just out in themselves, but out in other people. Now, you spoke to the Ori can't do anything, no one can do anything that the Ori doesn't allow. And just like Bible too, as far as with the other Orishas, it's almost like the energy with Job going through with this hedge. So the Ori would then act as the hedge, because it always have your best interest. I know if you didn't work with any Orishas, you can work with Ori.
Correct.
So if your Ori turns against you, that's what they call it when you commit suicide, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I wonder what would create an energy in the space where it would allow, because even letting other Orishas or other energies torment you is a form of it turning against you. Unless, other than the lesson part of it, because I would, assume that the Ori allows permission for certain things to happen to us. And I never really heard it said the way you said it, on that note about they're allowed to kind of torment us in a way. Not torment us, but they have to have permission.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the devil has to have, how the Christian Bible said. So what would allow, or why would what would it be against your Ori? Is it for not making appeasement that would allow it to turn on you in a way that it will, that you would take it to that level and damage or hurt yourself, or damage your destiny,
A lot of it has to do with agreements that we make. You got to be
before we get
careful.
here?
Yes. But also be careful of unconscious agreements that you make as well, especially when you get in a state of anger or high emotion. When you say something like, you know what, and you tell yourself that you don't want to be here no more, you know what I'm saying? Or when you're cursing people, because I'm going to tell you, there's something about a part of yourself, which is your Ori. When you're constantly gossiping and talking about other people, what happens is that your Ori takes it personally, as if you're talking about it. That's one way, okay? Another thing, too, is that when you're in a certain environment and you're constantly being bombarded by people who are sending you negative thought forms or negative energies. Now, one of the things that you can do is keep your aura cool, right? From time to time, it might be good to, if you see like a flowing river and you're going to wash the heat off your head by washing your head in the river from time to time. Or you could take, give it something like coconut oil or coconut milk and just massage it and hold it. You know, a lot of people disrespect their own RE when they knock themselves aside the head when they feel like they bungled on something. So there's different ways, but respecting your RE is crucial. When you first wake up in the morning, the first thing you should do is hold your RE and pray. Okay?
Yes.
See, now this is your true Godhead,
Yes.
the true divine nature within the head. You see what I
I
mean?
say,
So
yes.
if you don't have respect for yourself, and if you are not acknowledging the fact that you're disempowering yourself, that's one way in which your RE will turn against you. You see what I mean? Now you're also being bombarded by a whole lot of stuff. So what you want to make sure is that the stuff that's bombarding you, you know, you're able to change it with more positive affirmations. Now, one form of RE work is when you get into a state of meditation and do breath work. A lot of people don't talk about that. You have your RE here, and you also have your RE in the gut. So when you do your pot belly breathing, and you're breathing into the nose, and you're focusing on higher subjects, like you're focusing on a Lodumare and that which is good, you're going to breathe, and you're going to take in the positive energy. You see what I mean?
Or in you.
Orienu, yep. So Orienu. Some say Orienu is entered to the stomach. You see?
Yeah.
Then you have Oriade, Orienu.
Wajed.
Oriepere, right?
There's so many components. The head corpus. You know, that lecture a long time ago I did on that. That was deep. That was real deep. You have to. There's so much I have to, you know, go over it again sometime because it was just a lot to, you know. Are you? Did you want to look at any questions or comments, or would you like to keep rolling?
And let's see what we got.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess this is on the Ori. People are saying they're definitely paying more attention to the head. Now, this is Shali. She's a Pisces too, and it's interesting that she came in while we were having this conversation because I sure had her in mind as you were speaking, and she said, "I am unalive myself when I was 19, fully crossed over. I was gone in a coma on a ventilator for 3 days. I was given a choice to come back or not, and I said no at first." You know what's interesting about that, Shali? You know, Shaylee, is because you still talk that talk. So I'm not using you as an example, but I am. I want to know, like, when you already went over, like she's crossed over, and then come back, and you gotten that second chance, and you may still speak in that way. Is that something that could be offensive to Ori? Because you've already been given a chance to come back in the incarnation.
Let me ask the question. Did you come back with anything? Like any extrasensory perception? Have the power of your dreams increased? Right?
Yeah,
have your dreams, right? I can't see any of the comments. So therefore, for whatever reason.
So she answers, I'll go back to it. But Shaylee, if you're out there, when you came back from that experience, did you come back more conscious or with other information or things about your journey? And you can just answer that whenever. We'll keep rolling and then we'll come back to it, okay? See if there's anything else. Welcome in, Brother Gerald, and everyone else that's here. Yeah. So, okay. So back to that, the veneration and stuff. So what did you want to, you can continue, and I don't have a specific way unless you want me to take a specific way and path. So we're speaking about veneration of the gods too. Oh, there she go. She ready, Pisces. I came back knowing that there is a beyond beautiful afterlife. Okay.
Ashe. And one of the reasons why I asked that question is because when you get close to spirit like that, or a lot of times if you do a lot of meditation, you will discover that you're getting a lot of downloads while you live on Earth. You see what I mean? And what basically people who report having lots of out-of-body experiences are when they meditate and they get that sensation where they feel like they're floating. What it is that you are getting closer and closer to the other realm of the etheric realm, or the Akashic frame. So once you have touched the Akashic field, then you're constantly open to information that's coming and pouring into you,
Right.
especially when you're in the morning. And I spoke on this before, when you're laying in a relaxed state, you know, when you're first waking up and all this information is pouring into your consciousness, and you need to start writing it down, because when you start moving, it starts going back into the seat of your consciousness, and you start forgetting it. You see, but
Absolutely.
you have noticed that a lot of times it checks out when you actually go over what you put down, because it may have actually been some shit that you did not even know, right?
Right.
Consciously. And then you go and look it up on the internet and discover that it checks out.
Yeah, it does. Or you find it in a book or somewhere else. What's interesting is that's the reason, and I get kind of irritated. I don't like people calling me too early in the morning because I'm not ready to speak yet. Even if you see me lit up on Facebook, that don't mean I'm taking messages, or because I'm still in a space where I'm collecting information. I'm grounding myself from the nighttime travel. So I just like that space in the morning just to do what I need to do for self. Okay, Shaylee got a lot of stuff here, but
I see her.
just settling back in. So it says, she came back knowing that God does love me unconditionally no matter what. Okay, I believe that. Also, I came back knowing how real and how important free will is. And I'm a psychic and a medium. You are, Ashe.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Ashe.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Shaylee, for sharing with us, Queen.
Beautiful. And that's the thing. See, a lot of times people don't believe that there's an afterlife, or that there's a spiritual dimension. But in fact, there is. You see, spirit time travels is not limited to time and space. This is why you have the process called deja vu, as I mentioned in my earlier video. You have deja vu, right? Because your spirit has been there. Your physical form is catching up to where your spirit has been.
Right.
So you're the past, present, and future. But in this physical body, you're limited, or appear to be limited, to time and space. And it's based on an agreement that you had to come and experience being in this particular form. Hence, you've taken on this form. Now you are therefore a life form. You have boundaries, you have limitations, but it allows you to make discoveries. That's what you wanted to do anyway. You had to give up the element of all knowingness, because if you know all things and cannot define it, you might as well not know anything. Correct. So you come and take this physical form, you allow yourself to experience and have a definition and a purpose of your existence.
To see it playing out. And shout out to Dolores. Thank you for tapping in with us. Yeah, that's deep though, man. That's powerful. So with people that work in the field that we work in, and others, shamans, healers, do we have enough energy right now, and to mend our broken world, or should we be raising consciousness, just continuing with the, giving the world this energy and this information, because it's changing, and a lot of people are still stuck in this old way of thinking, and this is where the mental breakdown. That's why I said mental health is really in first place, because it's almost like people have to go through almost a cognitive dissonance to understand. That's for the ones that are still so attached to the old consciousness, as because that's what they say our heartache comes from, is attachment. So if you're unable to detach from the old frequency, so the ones of us that are collectively growing, because I believe that everybody won't go with the collective, but there's still a collective within the collective, if that makes sense.
Yes. Wait, here's the thing. You got to first start with mending your broken world, because each and every one of us, we are like a smaller calabash within a larger calabash. And when you get into a Ofun, it talks about bringing back the pieces of the shattered calabash. So our world was beginning to shatter when we first came into existence, because this world traumatizes us. So therefore, you have this fragmented aspect of yourself. Now, in certain circles, like New Age circles, they like to use the term soul retrieval, which they get from the shaman or shamanism, soul retrieval. And it has a lot to do with when you've gone through various traumatic events, a part of your soul or part of you was left in that particular time period. So what the person or the shaman does is that they take you back into what you call that, when they hypnotize you, and they take you back to that part of your life.
Regression. Yeah,
right.
Soul regression. Yeah, past life regression.
That's what we're looking at. Yeah. So it could either be past life, or it could be traumatic events that took place in this very life, right? Like, let's say you got smacked in the mouth by your dad because you said something that he thought was rude. So then that caused you to not want to say anything. So therefore you became more reserved. But then when it came time for you to speak, right, something in you doesn't want to speak. And that's that child that was smacked in the mouth when you were 7 years old.
The
Now, maybe
trauma.
you shouldn't have smacked you.
Yeah.
You see, so it's
The
that
trauma.
trauma.
Yeah.
It's taking place. So you have what is called that exiled child that's within you. See,
Right.
that's the part, that's when it's your personal calabash first started getting shattered. The first time your calabash actually started getting shattered is when you went through the trauma of coming down the birth canal and then
Yeah.
coming to this world. That
Yeah.
was a traumatic event. So
Uh-huh.
because of these events, you forget your divine origin, which caused you to become misaligned with your divine destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah, that's really deep. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add on that part of it? And what do you think of the veneration still? Like, should that be something that everybody should be tapped into? Like, should we all be? And I know I mean, like, when we talk about a world religion,
Mm-hmm.
what are ways that this even shows up as something that we can all benefit from as a collective, like a world collective? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's so certain, and this subject can go on and on. That's why I told them in the beginning this may be a part two, because even if we just went into sacrifice and just all of the different ways people think about sacrifice, that's the whole show. Just not
Mm-hmm.
just animal sacrifice, but just sacrifice. But we even talk about coming through the birth canal, and all of that is a form of sacrifice. Born in blood.
Mm-hmm.
Just even the mother is 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot out to
Right.
bring the child into the world.
Right.
So is this something that like I guess what I'm saying do you think only the evolved could benefit from it, or is this something that we can still, because we may need to do we need to modernize it? Is it good in the way it's the state that it's in, or is
Allow
it something?
it. Allow it. Right?
Mhm.
Because you see, what's wrong with a lot of people. I mean, not in if I says don't judge. So let me go ahead and not say what's wrong with them. What I'll say is what's going on with these traditions is a lot of
Uh-huh.
people get stuck, right? These West African traditions and these indigenous traditions, they were meant to be fluid. But you
Hmm.
see, we look in terms of reclaiming and preserving. So you may get from one particular elay a way of doing things. So that becomes the rule. Then they say, well, don't paint outside these lines. You see what I mean? Well,
Hmm.
because they're, so then they say, oh, well, you got to be careful how they do it over here. Next thing you know, you'll discover something very interesting. You're not supposed to be doing such and such a thing because somebody else is doing it. You see what I
Right.
mean? So a lot of times when we attempt to build the walls to protect ourselves and keep others out, we end up trapping ourselves in.
Hmm.
And this has also have led to our fragmented consciousness.
Absolutely.
You know, I, I
Hmm.
think I saw something about love flash across the screen. Love is very important. Love is found in the word evolve. You see what I mean?
Right.
So love in the ancient, in a Yoruba word for love is Ife, which is expansion. So if you want to expand yourself and add on to yourself in your community, which breaks down to common unity, you go out into the community and you connect with people. You go to the person that owns the mom and pop shop down the street. You say, hey, how you doing today? Get to know him, talk to him a little bit. You see what I mean? The librarian, talk to the librarian, talk to the people in your
Community
area
building.
and bring it
Hmm.
back into being a community. And Ife is to
Hmm.
expand your family, right? First you start with self, then you start with family, then community, then the world. We're going to do it. Probably too many people is doing it ass backwards. You're still full of traumas. You're trying to change the world. You haven't worked on yourself. Then you go out there and you try to change the world, end up getting gaffled. You see, or you end up falling down because you have not worked with your own traumas. You have not worked with whatever took place when you were a child, or you get a little too touchy-feely with people when they come and be a part of your group because you have issues that took place when you was a child and you never got them resolved.
That's
So things
fact.
don't happen right
Yeah.
for you. Or you got all kind of traumas. You're still mad at so-and-so. You're still mad at your partner who you broke up with back in the day. So when you
Hmm.
see somebody of the other gender, you're so busy mad at them that you lash out on people either other gender, or you're mad at your mom, or you're mad at your dad. So there's things that you got to work on. There's things you
The
got to
character.
work on.
The
This is a
character.
character, right?
Yeah.
So yes, so
Igual.
I say,
Yeah, that's big. I guess also us being so judgmental, that's what I'm speaking to of sometimes we stay so steeped in the old traditions that we are not realizing that there's many ways to express things. Some things could be expressed hip hop, some things could be expressed in different forms of dance or and I'm speaking to that as far as creativity. We could be creative with I agree with that, being more creative with bringing it forward. You know, we're not telling people to wear Jesus sandals and walk with camels. I mean, we're in a different world now. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we have to, almost like you said, if it's not able to be lived out, expressed, or understood, it's pointless. It's like not even, what's the point in having a knowledge? A lot of us collect this knowledge, but we're not applying it. So nobody's benefiting from it anyway. You know, so how can we apply it to? And what you just said, this is something that I've been speaking on, is that before we can get, and I was talking to you. I said before we can get with the collective, we have to collect ourselves. You can't even be a part of the collective until you can collect yourself. And there's so much of this going on, and that's part of doing that shadow work because we're in a shadow time right now. So you know, yeah, I give thanks for that information. Oh, that's big.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's where the word Ife in Yoruba, it means expansion. But it's been translated as love. The Kemetic word for love is mer, which means to cultivate. You see what I mean? Because it's a process. You cultivate something. See, we get with each other and have all these expectations because we're traumatized. You see what I mean?
You say love is never having to say you're sorry. Am I reading that right?
If you cannot take accountability, then you cannot really express love. Because you also have to admit when you may have made a mistake. Okay?
Right.
Because you are human. I make mistakes, but at the same time, I rectify mistakes. It's good to understand that you make mistakes so that you can learn and do better. That's how we grow. But if we don't recognize, if you cannot recognize that you may have made a mistake or miscalculated somewhere along the line, you're going to keep miscalculating and you're going to find yourself in the same situation. You see what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, there may be different values that you and your partner have. Let's say you and your partner or your friends have different values, right? So they may not have been raised to understand that you don't put your elbow in somebody's pillow and mess the pillow of their couch up because they were able to do it at their parents' house because they didn't care. But yours did. So they taught you to care about that. So you come in, you meet this person that don't care about it because he never was told, or she was never told that they were supposed to care about it.
Right.
Now you're mad at them thinking that they disrespected you. But it's not that they were trying to be disrespectful. They were just never raised.
Right.
A lot of people don't even have any home training these days.
Right.
You see?
Right.
So, so expectations kill relations. Communication is very important. So you have to understand what's going on with the other person and how they think and everything else. And stop trying to act like people are supposed to read your mind because people are not mind readers. I'm a diviner and still don't be reading people's minds. Sometimes I pick up on what spirit tells me about this person. If it doesn't feel right, I'll listen to spirit. But hey, it's not like I'm going to be able to put a paragraph of what you're thinking on a piece of paper necessarily. Okay?
I mean, nobody ain't even trying to do that. You know how many minds and energy that's all around us? So I'm not like when people are like, oh, you're a psychic, do you read people? No, I don't do that. I'm not wasting my time and energy on that. So if it's something that comes to the radar, we pay attention to it. And I'm saying that to people that think like that, like y'all be reading people's thoughts. No, we don't do that. That's not, we're living our life and on our own journey. But if there's something that we need to address or something that stands out or a person that needs our help or a person that's out to harm us, that comes up on the radar.
Indeed. Indeed.
Like Raven. Like that's so Raven. Her messages never came out exact.
I'll be it is what it is. So the beauty in your imperfection is you are given the opportunity to chase the carrot of reaching towards perfection. That allows you to grow. That allows you to have an experience. You see what I mean? But a lot of times people are damaged themselves. So a lot of times people need to understand that they may need to go and get some help. There's nothing wrong with understanding that you need help. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, Arete Magi is one of the old dudes says that you need to ask for help sometimes. Sometimes people need to acknowledge that you don't have everything straight. And that's okay. That's why there's family and community.
That's right.
See, we got to get these concepts right again. Because you see, the thing about it is that there needs to be some understanding. And, there also needs to be compassion.
Right.
One of the biggest things that I used to give me the irks about the, I don't know if they call that spiritual bypassing, when New
Yes.
Agers would talk about somebody
Yes.
wanting to suffer.
I
Like,
was
yeah, I'm
just
pretty
talking
sure
about
that,
that.
right? Oh, that homeless person, he must have wanted that. I don't know. That homeless person looks pretty hungry and cold to me. There's
Right.
a such thing as compassion, and compassion is on a higher vibration than apathy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's two forms of that. Because I was speaking to that. There's spiritual bypassing for our own individual selves, where we're not doing our own individual work and taking accountability. So we're on some crusade about, yeah, you're living wrong. Jesus is the way, and
Right.
you didn't even did nothing yourself.
Right.
Oh yeah, you supposed to be in my heart, and your ass ain't in my heart. Okay, so it's kind of like that, and then there's that spiritual bypass that comes with toxic positivity.
Right.
The person is really feeling true grief, and you're like, love and light. I mean, what's wrong? You're so negative, and so that's another part of spiritual bypassing too. So that's good. Very important, because everybody in this clout chasing era and in this fakery that people present, it's very important that, and that's why I spoke on that too with the audience, is the literally doing the work, and because if you spiritually bypass it, also leads to mental illness. That's why when you get so much on a high level, there's nowhere else to go. You can't breathe up there. It's nothing. You haven't did anything, and then you're only hitting walls, because you have other issues that even people in like revolutionary movements and stuff, if they don't have the consciousness intact, certain things in their own communities, you got misplaced anger. People are angry about, and they're looking for reasons, and then collectively, we some ignorant mofos collectively. We'll sit there and attack one cause together and feed off each other's negativity and stuff, but not working on ourselves.
Indeed. Yes. You got some more comments?
It say teach God. It says exactly. We have to respect people's boundaries. She said, I have a female energy coming through strongly for your guests. Okay. Okay. A female energy coming through for you. Okay, it says not fakery. Teach God. Yes. Yeah, for sure. It's what it is. So and then they just in the vibe with us. Shout out to Knowledge Born Allah. That's who I was speaking to.
Knowledge Born Allah. What's going on, brother? I can't see your comments, but hey, I greet you. Peace, my brother. It's always good to see or hear from you.
I'm gonna see if he want to come in and listen in with us right quick. Knowledge Born, if you want to come up on the speaker, tap there you go. Oh, what? I didn't know you could do that. You said that.
Look at my brother in the building, man.
Right. It's good to see you. What's going on?
Hey, I ain't seen you since I seen you, brother. You see how it goes?
I do. And here we go. Now we see that. You see? When energy disperses, it always comes back together.
That's real.
So what did you think of the bill? What do you feel about what we were just saying?
Hey, we healing the earth, we healing ourselves, the time and the energy that's spent, and we are pushing away compound interest from years and generations of neglect. Years of neglect. We come from strong families who came from strong families where strength was seen as something toxic. So they tried their best to shroud and hide to not appear strong. But you can be physically weak and spiritually strong. And the ones who track those physical appearances, they find those and weed those out. But there are those who work in secret to figure out who are spiritually strong. We went through the whole, everybody and their mother knows the COINTELPRO era now. So everybody's like, oh, it was to stop the rise of a black messiah. What did that look like? Who did that look like? Why were they looking in bloodlines? Why were they looking in bloodlines since Jesus' time, quote unquote? So what did that look like? Was that a physically strong person? No. If you study anything with our ancients, it wasn't what was on the outside, it was on the inside.
Teach.
So it didn't matter what they stationed in life. Most of the folks, what they stationed in life was unqualified. Those who had the least station in life was most qualified. So when we start to look at years of neglect, we put our energy and space into the wrong places over time. So we might have put it in, somebody who looked heir apparent versus who was truly apparent. And it was by their works and by their intentions and by the things that they left to show they self-approved. So, in order for us to get back into balance, we have to work from the opposite side of the zero to closing the gap of the deficit. You see what I'm saying? The deficit is out there. So we cleaning up work from 1,000 years. I heard y'all talking about 1,000 years, 1,000 years ago. And who's willing along the way? And after seeing so many atrocities of those who came to help us get on the other side of the zero, on the positive side, how do y'all continue to stay compelled to work, seeing these results? You see what I'm saying? They get disheartened and things like that. So I'm thankful to this community, this Soul Healing community, and the community that you building, Brother Kephra, with your fam up there, to reinforce, because many of us was on a lone mission. They speak about the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman was by herself. There were people that would give you quarter in a place to stay, but they wasn't going to go get nobody with you. You understand what I'm saying? So the reason why we have community is, okay, I see where you are. Let me minister to you. Let me be reciprocal. That space of reciprocity that you may not get in the space, because we all black sheeps and conscious outcasts in our family. We sound crazy. We spiritual. We are conspiracy theorists and all of that until something goes awry. Then they like, hey, Kephra, hey, let me talk to you on the side real quick. Hey, Mama Socha, let me talk to you over here. Blah, blah, blah. You still doing that other thing, I ain't going to go to hell if I talk to you. They get through all of that, because when you're ailing, you need relief, and you know exactly where to go. But just think about the price that it costs for you, that it would have cost you initially versus waiting until you on your last leg. You see what I'm saying? God don't even want to hear from you in that space. And say, God help those who help themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Like, I gave an analogy earlier, just to be brief. If I messed up all my rent money in the dice game, what I look like going on the God of Jesus? Jesus ain't never been to no dice game. God ain't never been to no dice game. They ain't have no rent. They don't know what it's like to blow that money. But my uncle did. My uncle been in the situation. You understand? My uncle was in the shootout out in the dice game. Like, hey, I done lost my money in this dice game. You understand what I'm saying? Help me out. So that's somebody that's gonna help you quicker than you want God to intervene. So yeah, I mean, in order for us to do right, we have to understand that we're doing an arduous task to undo the wrong that has been done, to clean up the debt that's associated with these things on this other side. So I'm just thankful, for your community, God, Kola Soja and Kephra, that we have way stations where we can go get righteous. We can go get ourselves together, because it's hard out here sometimes, and when you don't see a lot of those instances, and we're in it, we know what to do with it. But think about our children that's being exposed to it, younger and younger and younger and younger and younger and younger. Are we so caught up in what we're doing that we neglect them, and they become another generation that looks at our traditions and follows? You see what I'm saying? So we have to constantly reinforce and then put them, and equip them with the skills and the talents. Because while I was listening, I heard you say, applied knowledge. That's wisdom. So where are the folks who are going to apply what they know and what they learn, convert it from information into knowledge, and then from knowledge in that pathway into wisdom? So we can have some understanding, and we can begin to live. After understanding, there's your culture. So how do you live this? Where's the evidence of it? How you walk, how you talk, how you communicate, and how you treat the earth, and how you treat yourself. So I'm just thankful, to both of y'all for continuing. I just wanted to take a little moment to give y'all some reciprocity. Y'all be out here for everybody. You understand what I'm saying?
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much for that.
You know.
Before you leave, though, I just have a quick question for the panel. do you think, I believe, but do you guys, how do you think that there's a system dismantling itself? Do we need to put a lot of energy towards that, or should we be focused on other things and allow truth to stand on its own? Because that's what's actually knocking it down. Brother Kephra, or you can ask it in Brother Knowledge.
First of all, okay. And first of all, remember we got to repair our own calabash before we try to repair the big calabash. So as long as we don't work on ourselves, we're gonna actually keep the system up. Even we go keep it on life support. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's on life support right now, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us are scared to unplug it. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're still
Mm-hmm.
dependent on it.
That's a
So,
good point.
so you have to make yourself self-sufficient, and you also got to work on ways and how you're going to pass the knowledge on to the little ones so that they can also be independent of it. Because
Mm-hmm.
the thing about it is that if you only focus on just getting everything for yourself in the moment, right? I'm not talking about the eternal now. I'm talking about you're thinking about something that is fleeting, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that is for
Mm-hmm.
yourself because you're being greedy. You think if you just grab everything for yourself, not understanding that the collective, right, is all an aspect of the universal self that can work and
Mm-hmm.
help bring things together. You see,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why I mentioned earlier about community being common unity, because you see, I barely can even call these neighborhoods these days because we don't even act like neighbors. All right, a lot of people have been on the internet, right, and they're building communities where there's are basically digital communities.
Mm-hmm.
But where is the real reciprocity at when you're having interaction? You see, like for instance, okay, you have the very human experience of dealing with aging parents, right?
Right.
Your parents are going to age just as your children are going to grow up. So if you develop the quality of care, then you have to care for something. If you do not have any type of care, it withers away. That which you are dealing with withers away without the concept of care. This concept is developed in the form of Yemoja in the Orisha tradition. So Yemoja, she embodies nurturing and care. Without her, without that aspect of care, the children, the babies will not eat. You see what I mean? But you
Mm-hmm.
have to also develop these qualities of these orishas within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now we've had a lot of people who have been going into the ancient ways, dealing with the orishas, or dealing with the Netaru of Kemet, right? And unfortunately, we have been taught for a long time to throw these teachings away. There's, and Brother Knowledge, I hit upon that a little early. So we threw away these teachings because we were taught that these things needed to go because they told us that, hey, man, this is toxic, this is evil, this is wicked, or whatever. We begin to take on the ideas of those who did not have our best interests. So we got their
Mm-hmm.
misinterpreted, distorted version of Jesus, the distorted ideas of religion and everything else, telling you to love everything they love about them and hate everything they hate about you. So as we begin to move and evolve, we re-embrace, somebody mentioned it in the comments earlier, love, right? And love containing the word evolve and being immersed in the Kemetic tradition, meaning to cultivate, because it is a process. Nothing is just done simultaneously. There's a process in which we have to learn to respect when it comes to structure. Just like when you're watering a plant, you got to start off as a seedling. Then it begins to sprout. Then it begins to grow because you're taking care of it, and you have to be patient. You can expect the seed to become a full-blown tree overnight.
Mm-hmm.
The
Right.
same with a relationship, the same with the community. But first, we
Mm-hmm.
got to start with the seed. You got to start with yourself first. That's the seed. You see what I mean? And then you branch out,
That's right. That's
you
right.
know.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned Wande Abimbala earlier,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wande Abimbala, in his book, May Ifa, Women Are Broken World. There's something that I'm never going to forget. He talked about us being in the age of the all-consuming king, Oba Junjun, meaning the
All right.
all-consuming
The
king, right?
all-consuming. Oh,
Yeah,
the all-consuming king.
right.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
the world is suffering. And the West is suffering because of the need to maintain an infrastructure and keep some of the jobs within the borders of the very country that they're trying to maintain. However, the American citizen, as they would like to, have you believe, is encouraged to consume, shop, get all kinds of stuff and have lots of sex, not cultivating themselves, not working with their family. That's not going to keep an economy sustainable for too long, especially if you're living in a country that's in debt. America, that is the U.S., has a debt over $34.4 trillion.
Mm.
And the wars and the country, COVID-19, none of that helped. So, I wanted to talk about a couple of Ifa verses. Now, Rumula teaches us in the Odu Otorarete. Rumula says, they who know moderation will never fall into disgrace. So then it continues. It says, I say, who knows moderation? Rumula says, the one who will not squander money. I say, who knows moderation? Rumula says, the one who will not steal. They say, who knows moderation? Rumula says, the one who does not owe debts. This country encourages you to do all those things, okay? So people do just that. You squander money. You're taught to squander money. You're taught to live beyond your means. The country is on the verge of falling into disgrace because they're not dealing with moderation. They don't teach people to deal with moderation and live reality. You see what I mean? Social media tells you to do the opposite. So you have to rise above all the temptations that'll keep you in balance. Ifa talks about the need to create a new covenant with the earth herself, which means we're going to have to change the way we live and change the way we think. Rumala also teaches us that Ifa contains the wisdom to do such. So we live in a world that traumatizes us. Beginning with your childhood, you begin to learn that the earth is not always a very friendly place, and each and every one of us has to deal with that. The need to pick up the shards of our collective and individualized, traumatized consciousness. So you got these Western religions that have been utilized and worked against you, right? Use to control and limit your access to spirit, even that's not what their original intent was. It also talks about being able to take in the energy of the spirit. In the Yoruba tradition, when you go to a bimbe, there's what you call the elegun. And the elegun is a person who basically takes in the spirit, and the spirit operates through that person. Sometimes they'll close down the ceremony, right, if it's a bimbe. And that spirit will speak through that person and tell people in the room things that they need to know about themselves that only they would know. That's how you know that they've tapped into a higher level of consciousness. You see what I mean? So we are all transmitters and receivers. We're able to receive this knowledge. We're able to give this knowledge and share this knowledge. There are certain instructions what to do at a ceremony. If someone is supposedly mounted by a Orisha or an ancestor comes with the person and talks with the person, they'll shut down the whole room where they'll allow this person to let the ancestor speak to the people in the room. Now, the Yoruba throughout West Africa, there's what you call the members of the Ogboni Society, what I spoke about earlier. They're the wisdom keepers of the planet Earth. They're the planetary elders, and they maintain the rites and the ceremonial knowledge that brings balance to the earth itself. So one thing we have to do is we have to learn respect, and we also have to consider the variances, right? How we come in different forms or variances or appear to be different, right? We're working as aspects of the collective. So Ifa has this verse called Okran Oshe, and it says Ifa doesn't order change, or it doesn't order change of culture. Ifa is culture. Culture means to cultivate. Ifa doesn't change the origin. Ifa is the origin. Ifa does not order attack because Ifa is peace. Your true nature is peace. Ifa does not order to destroy. Ifa deals with construction. Ifa does not tell you to lie. Ifa is the truth. Ifa doesn't rule with hate. Ifa is love. Ifa does not order to kill. Ifa is the news of life. Ifa does not order to judge. Ifa is understanding, right? That's in the Odu Ifa. So it talks about how we can not just accept, but embrace the variations of our existence in other human forms. The tradition calls for us to understand the purpose and the marriage to our destiny. Like bees in a hive, you have different types of bees, whether they're worker bees, drones, or the queen. They all have different roles, but each and every one of their individual functions are important in order for the hive to survive. The same can be done and said about the human species, and there are different types of people that do different types of things. And this is why in Ifa divination, a person comes to see what their particular destiny is, and they're told to marry their destiny.
Mhm.
So you become
That's
the
right.
wife of your
Yeah.
destiny. You see what I
That's
mean? Ifa is
what you
about
were talking
marrying
about,
your destiny.
marrying the destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
how Ifa will mend our broken world. The
Okay.
way Ifa mends our broken world, Ifa is the wisdom of nature. You tap into the wisdom of nature and you mend the broken world within yourself first.
I
You
say,
see,
I
I
agree. I
say,
agree. Would you like to? Thank you for that. That's real. It's, the part as far as that's what we've been saying. Starting with the man in the mirror. That's the only way the world will change. The change starts
I
with
say,
us.
I say.
So did you want to say something about the system being dismantling itself, or would you like for me to give you another thought on us closing, brother knowledge?
I was about to say, Mama, I hope I ain't got to follow that, okay? Because he said everything that needed to be said,
That's right.
okay? Only thing I would say was to honor our maternal, that the divine feminine has
I say,
been overlooked and
indeed.
dismayed and betrayed. And we have
Mm-hmm.
a opportunity to mend those fences, those aspects of the earth, on earth as it is with heaven. I heard you earlier, as above, so without, or below as within, so without.
That's right.
So
Mhm.
our mothers, we are cutting off relationship with our mothers. We're no longer connected to that presence of mother. We no longer honor mother. We want honor for father without honoring mother. We want
Mm-hmm.
we want honor for self in aggrandizing space without with and cutting off the wombs that bore us, that gave us life, that cherished us, that sustained us, that faced that you said 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on
Yeah.
earth in order to give
Have
life. So
mhm.
we have a duty to the earth. A lot of blood has been spilled all over the earth. We're no longer renewing the earth. We're no longer becoming a change agent, an interrupter from this
Mm-hmm.
artificial existence. And we're giving more credence to things that are artificial than those that are natural.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I ain't never seen so many black people out in the sun, out in the elements, not giving homage, complaining about the sun. Let the sun show up late. Let the sun show up 2 minutes late. We'll see
Mm-hmm.
what detriment we would be in. We don't give no credence and honor to Mother Nature and all of her
Right.
variances. We don't honor the wind. We don't honor the rain. We don't honor the sun. We don't
Mm-hmm.
honor the shade. We don't honor any of it. We're no longer connected to her anymore. We don't thank her
Mm-hmm.
for the bounty that she bestows upon us, and
Thank
it's evident.
you for granted. Mm.
Yeah.
That's where there's a splinter. We're disconnected. You see what I'm saying? So for us to get reconnected and remember, we have to remember her. We have to remember her and thank her for her children, the children that she gives unto us,
Mm-hmm.
So the things from the earth, all of the medicine, all of the things that we need to reform and to heal and to resurrect and to rise are contained within her mind,
Right.
within her heart, within her body. And we are supposed to be good stewards to
Mm-hmm.
her. We were
I
left
say.
as of charge with her, so we should return to her and give her reverence, and also ancestrally give our ancestors reverence. Don't leave these aspects out. And we continue to teach our young people these skills, along with everything that Brother Kephra said, and everything that you teach, in the new soldier healing community. These are tools. These are keys. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, we're going to suffer from the negligence. We're going to suffer the wrath from the negligence. We're going to get
I
caught
say.
up in the wrath. This is the
Mm-hmm.
rapture that the church folks was talking about, because when Mother Nature come to judge, it's a wrap. You understand what I'm saying? You had a house.
Indeed.
You used to live somewhere. You used to have good drinking water. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So as a way for this space, we've been in intemperance and excess for too long. So we should return back to balance. We should return back to order. But it's going to take work, a consistent work. They said the best apology is change behavior. So we need to change our behavior holistically
Facts.
in our relationship to nature, in our relationship to Mother Earth. So that's what I wanted to say.
Give
Fact.
thanks. And yeah,
Fact.
give thanks. That was y'all both came with some powerful word. And that's where it's at. It's just really simple. It's working on the change within in order to have a better world without. It's just that. Y'all said it all on that note. So I'll give thanks for that. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Brother Kephra?
Well, I wanted to say, I wanted to give thanks and praise for you having us on your show. It's always beautiful to
Sure.
come and be a part of what it is and picking up what you're putting down, you know what I mean, and assisting. So if there's anything else you would like to talk about, I'm always here to come and work with you and build with you. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
So, you know,
For sure. I have a
like,
brother down here on the bottom too, Brother Calvin Denson. This is one of my classmates and
okay.
friends. Gemini. He says
Uh-oh.
change starts. You can't change anyone else but yourself. Change starts when he or she looks in the mirror and says, I need to change. This is not me. And if I keep on this path, I'm going to end up in last place.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Facts.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's such accountability. That's the accountability right
Mm-hmm.
there. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what we got to know. So I don't want to go too deep because I can. We're gonna go to part. We can do a part two and still keep building on how IFA can mend our broken world. That's something that need to continue because this is
Mm-hmm.
world matters. This is earth matters. When we sit and talking about and discussing what we can do as a collective. Red,
Mm-hmm.
yellow, black, and white. We are precious in His sight. I don't know about all that, but the point is having these discussions and giving the consciousness out. Because the next thing I'm going to say is, as the ones that are deciding to turn on the station and plug in, what's happening to all of the ones that's plugged out?
Mm-hmm.
Because they still want to interact with us, but that's what I feel the shift is. When you're
Mm-hmm.
starting to go from the third to the fifth dimension, this frequency, the part of the changing yourself and deciding where you want to be, that's fourth dimension. If you
Mm-hmm.
can, some people choose to stay on the fourth dimension and manipulate the third dimension,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to get to a place where we know that's the cocoon, the fourth dimension.
Indeed.
The third dimension is the caterpillar, and it only
Uh-huh.
leads to death. Because
Mm-hmm.
we've already did that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's selfless and everything, but it's almost like the bridge is about to give way. So you got to jump to the next bridge, or this shit gonna fall. The
Real
cocoon
talk.
is the fourth dimension. So
Mm-hmm.
what are we doing in that space so that we can get to the next level of consciousness, which is the fifth dimension? The change is in the
Mm-hmm.
fourth dimension. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing there but just bull. It's the dressing room.
Right.
So it just continuing to push this information and knowledge, period. Because on the collective tip, it's all about Iwapule. And if we can't
Ashe.
get that down, we don't have nothing. Because this is, you let your character be your religion, not
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, not just Islam, not just hotel, whatever, Kemetic. We have to let the character within what we claim be the religion. Because that's
Mm-hmm.
what's going to change the consciousness of the world. So I wanted to add to that. And yes, if we apply it, if I can mend our broken world, along with the Kemetic teachings as well, and any of the teachings, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good Christian, be that, live that, and the world would be
Mm-hmm.
better. Be a good Muslim, be that, live that, and the world will be better.
Indeed.
So that's where I'm at with it, and yeah.
Well,
Calvin say,
this is
preach, yeah, you know.
right, right. This is real,
So
real,
thank
real
y'all so
talk.
much. And yeah, this is a powerful bill. Anything else you would like to add, Pepper, since you were my the first guest stepping in, and then if there's some brother knowledge would like to add,
Ah,
tell us where to find you at. And
yes. You can reach me. I have a YouTube channel. That's KPTAH 360 at YouTube,
okay,
and also it's under Ancient Wisdom Keeper.
the ancient
Okay.
wisdom keeper.
Yes. Also, I might have to just get a new Facebook account. I don't know. I just keep on filling these accounts up. You can also reach me at KPTAH, I don't know, Kephra, KHEPRA.PTAH@gmail.com. For those who
Okay,
are interested in booking a consultation, for those who may want to see who their Orishas are, and they can contact me that way.
Okay, right on. So anybody that's interested in seeing who's on their head, it may be more than one for some, but there's one main one. Brother Kephra can give you that. Babalawo Kephra can do those readings for the head, and maybe even to show you what your Ebobo or sacrifice prescription is. Okay,
I
so
say.
also, Brother Knowledge, is there anything else you'd like to add and tell us about Do the Knowledge Radio? Which is, y'all, we have a show that comes out, come on every Friday. It is called Cinematic Musings, where we speak on movies. Some of them are from the 80s, some of them from the 90s and beyond, and even back further.
Nice.
And we look at the metaphysical and social aspects of the movie and how how it played out then and how it affects us now, and just building on, what was going on not just the entertainment level, but the metaphysical and social message in the movie. It's really, we're really on to something kind of cool. So you guys tap in with Do the Knowledge, and you can tell us how to find you and all of that stuff.
Oh yes.
Do the Knowledge.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the opportunity to collaborate with a mastermind. I see my masterminds are in here. You see what I'm saying? Brother
I
Kephra,
say.
you know what I'm saying?
say.
And the guy, Color Sojet, you see what I'm saying? Working and doing things in abundance and doing things in proper order. So, Do the Knowledge Radio, we're around and we collaborating. So, as the guy said, y'all catch us on Cinematic Muse. We out there getting busy and taking some things apart. So, I have sight and Color Sojet has vision. So she brings, the vision to the space and I bring the
I
sight.
say.
You see what
I
I'm saying?
say.
So it's a perfect balance
Yeah.
to look at some of these things because everybody not gonna get an Odu, but they can see Vampire in Brooklyn. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Crazy.
So you make it palatable to be able to say, oh, you want to know more about that? Oh, why was that symbol up there? Oh, I'll let Brother Kephra. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, well, why was she like that? Oh, I'll let Mama Soche get it together. You see what I'm saying? So, these are aspects that are there that work, in a space to, have us unlock things on different levels. So whether it's music, whether it's movies, whatever it is in the arts, we're going to find our answers in everywhere. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful to you. Yeah. I'm thankful to you for this opportunity. I'm thankful for Metaphysical Mondays. If it wasn't for Metaphysical Mondays, you understand, I wouldn't be over here. Okay, so I love this place, and let's support this place and let's fortify, this soldier healing community on another level. So thank you again.
Thank you. And please like, share, you guys, show support, tap in. Now, Brother Calvin, I also want to say this about Brother Calvin. This is my classmate from South Park, from the Foe, out here in Beaumont, Texas. He's an author. He writes books, and he's a Black author. So I really want to bring attention to that. And I would like, Brother Calvin, when you can, I'd like to invite you onto the show to talk about your writing journey. This is all about culture, community, spirituality, and esoteric, and that's something to talk about. So I'm gonna get with you on that and see when we can connect on bragging on our hometown hero. So this is the last comment here. He's Brother Calvin says, be mindful of everyone's religion, our customs, because we're all seeking to be better, a better you. If it works for you, then keep doing it. I can only do what works for me, but at the same time, respecting. Let me see. One moment, because I want to say something on that. Respecting you, absolutely, amen. That's where I'm at. There's so many paths, so many ways. God is in all things. Consciousness is in all things. And what we have to do, even as a conscious collective, in the conscious community, in our spiritual and religious communities, there's certain bottom lines, and we have to find what it is we agree upon to make this world a better place, instead of looking for all the things we don't agree upon. That's where the problem comes in at. But if we can look at those common grounds and respect that and respect people's differences, we can make this world a better place, day by day. So, and life seasons do change. I agree. Yes. I thought I seen something from Brother Kephra. I'm getting so caught up in the messages. Somehow I booted myself out. No problem, no problem. Brother Knowledge also dropped down, so that's fine. I appreciate all of you guys. Ashe, Sister Tiffany. Thank you. Tiffany been rocking with me for years. And you guys, I'm slowly putting things together, but I am going to be, again, the raffles are going to be in. I just need to find what I want to raffle for you guys and when I'm going to get started, because we're rebooting everything. Metaphysical Monday is now going to be on the New Soul Jet community channel, so please make sure you add New Soul Jet community. We're going to be running it through StreamYard, you guys. So y'all stay tuned with that. If anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns, Mama, thank you for tapping in. Love you. Everybody that's in, I give thanks for it. Anything else you'd like to say? Questions, comments, concerns? Feel free to ask. If you have any questions for Brother Knowledge or Brother Kephra or for myself, make sure, you could tap in the comment section. If anybody has something to share doing the work in the community, I just want to make it clear that Brother Knowledge also has Do the Knowledge Radio, so platform. If you're interested in appearing with something that's valid or relevant to what the show's about, and also community building, make sure y'all tap in with Brother Knowledge for Do the Knowledge Radio. And once again, Brother Kephra doing those readings, Orisha readings to get your head Orisha. So make sure you guys tap in with him for that. And y'all know me, always rocking with the oracles, rocking with the dress candles and then some. So y'all can also tap in with me, and always every Monday, Metaphysical Monday, right here on the Soul Jet Tarot channel. And like I said, it's going to be appearing on New Soul Jet community. So make sure you guys hit that like and tap in. It's not a link, it's a like. Just like it and tap in with me, put the notifications on. And as far as Tarot Talk Thursday, you guys, I'm going to be doing beach rituals this week. I am going to the beach for the next few days, 4 days. I'm about to enjoy some spirituality, some sacred union, and all kind of stuff. So I'll be back, and after that, I'm going to go ahead and do we'll do Tarot Talk on Friday, okay, you guys, instead of Thursday. Ashe, love and light, peace. Everybody have a blessed week, and I love all of you guys. Ashe, peace.